But what would you say to those people? Because polyglots like you and some other people that speak many languages, I think sometimes get some criticism because you guys
Yeah.
can communicate in many languages, but they say why bother learning so many languages if you can barely, put a sentence together or something like that, what would you say to these people,
Well, let me say one thing first. Like, I mean, people can always criticize me. Like I'm open-minded for feedback. I think that's a good thing, something where I can learn something from. But at the same time, they should also know what my intention is. Like for
Hmm.
example, they also tell about my English and my Spanish that it's bad. But they
Uh,
also think about my Spanish that I speak whatever 3 phrases or whatever. I've also read
yeah.
that in comments, and that's basically not true because, like, for example, we had an hour conversation in Spanish. Like, how could I manage that if I
Of
know just 3 phrases?
course.
I mean, that's not right. So I already tell that there are 6 languages in which I can have a deep conversation. And the other 23 languages, they have different levels, and I basically want to show the process. Um, and to those people who were yeah, like were, for example, thinking that I should not practice those languages or whatever, or not speak those languages, they're basically telling me to forget these languages or something, because how you need to start somewhere, right? You always need to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for example, when you're walking, you also fell down, right? I mean, but if you never walk, if you never try to walk, you will never walk finally well.
Right.
So first you practice crawling, later walking, right? I mean, and if I show my process of crawling, and show my basic levels at the beginning, but I show the people the process of how I started and improve, and also I show my courage that I'm not afraid to speak it and to make mistakes, then
Right.
I'm just trying to say I always tell people that I can mention my mistakes. So if I already tell people like, yo, in most of the languages I have a basic level, but I want to improve them. Please tell me my mistakes. Then I don't understand.
Yeah.
But how do you say it? If I would be really arrogant, for example,
Hmm.
or telling that I speak all these languages well, then it's a different story. But I'm
Of
not saying
course,
big
you're
languages are
completely humble.
conversational level, and the other 23 languages are at, well, basic level, or maybe, yeah, let's say for example my Italian is maybe like low intermediate, something like that, but they're all at different levels. Most of them are basic, but
Yeah,
the
and I think what people need people need to
yeah,
understand. Look, it's like I think if a person speaks one foreign language,
yeah,
at a nice level, like you said, that's a thing to really appreciate. So it's like if a person
yeah,
has that, who cares how many languages they learn or what language they want to learn? Because it's really about their own personal fulfillment and that it makes them happy. It's like, what does it matter to you? If this person speaks mistakes when they speak Tagalog or whatever.
yeah. But I also want to encourage people, because I think like by showing people also my levels, which are basic levels to people, I also reach another audience of people who also, yeah, how do you say, they see that I'm human, like that I make
Yeah.
mistakes, and they can learn something of that. Because I think the most people who are learning languages, most of them, they want to survive speaking that language, or they want to travel, for example, like there are not so many people. Well, there, of course, there are also people who want to become, well, on a very high level. Don't take me wrong, but many people want to use a language because they want to travel, they want to survive,
Right.
they want to communicate, they want to make communicate with the family, for example. And for those language, for those ideas, if you want to communicate your ideas, like you don't need to have a really high level. However, it is still my goal to next year, 2021, to get six other languages at the same level as which I have in Spanish. That's a huge goal.
Wolf. Wow.
25 hours per week, that will be my time. But if I tell people that I can tell my mistakes, they can tell it. They can tell me how I could improve. I would take it. I can handle criticism, but there are two different ways of criticism. There's criticism in which you say, in which you tell people like, "Yo, you make these mistakes. This is how you can improve it." That's good. I think that's very awesome. That motivates me. but there's also sort of criticism in which people, yeah, tell you basically to stop. And that's dangerous, because if someone stops learning a language, he or she will forget everything. And I basically want to motivate people to keep learning, to never give up, to keep practicing. How many people are there, for example, who live for 6 months in a certain country, right? Because they had an
Mm-hmm.
exchange or a study, whatever. And really, there are people who are never using that language anymore when they return. And that's the whole
Right.
thing. You need to continue. It's like use it or lose it. That's what I think.
100%.
Yeah. So that's what I want to tell to those people. Like, you can criticize me. I respect it. I take it. And it helps me a lot if it can, how do you say it? Like, I'm asking for this
Improve.
feedback, so it's welcome. But I think it's also important that people understand what my intentions are of creating content. And there's like an other thing, and there's like, my content is pretty entertaining
Yeah.
mostly, but that also means that there are people who are not interested in languages, but they could become interested in languages when they see entertaining content, because um,
Absolutely.
reach another audience and they start learning a sort of language or whatever, because they're thinking like, oh, cool, it could also be this way or that way, so um, like, there are many people who like, for example, prank videos, like, and that's what I like to get the language learning community bigger, with more people,
Right.
with people who are not interested in languages at all at the beginning.
You're
So that's
opening
basically
doors.
and yeah, and the other thing is, like, I love to connect to people, so uh yeah, that's my main passion, my main love in order to learn languages. Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
one of your key themes that you always mention, and I've noticed when we talked, one-on-one, is that you feel really passionate about motivating people to learn
Yes.
languages. Can you talk a little bit, why do you feel this importance to motivate people in with languages in particular? Because I have my motives, my reasons, and I love that you're so inspired like I am in a sense, and I would love to hear your perspective about that.
Why I became so inspired, right?
No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. Why do you think it's so important for you to inspire other people,
Or to
but
inspire other people.
specifically by
Yeah.
language?
Yeah. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired. Yeah, I get you.
No worries.
It's a long day, but yeah, why is it so important to inspire other people? Well, you use the word inspiration very well, because, like, I would, when I look at my channel, the word inspiration is more uh, it's inspiration, not really education. Like, it's more.
Mm,
I try to make content which is like, yeah, sort of unique. Like, which is yeah, for example, these prank videos with